Could you imagine walking into a museum only to find priceless masterpieces gone? Not moved, not loaned, but vanished into thin air. A heist so perfectly executed, so audacious, that even after decades, the culprits walk free and the loot remains missing. That's exactly what happened at Boston's Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in 1990. Two men disguised as police officers pulled off the unimaginable at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, stealing 13 priceless artworks worth an estimated $500 million. And the most terrifying part? Someone opened the door and let them in. We're diving deep into the perplexing details of how they did it and why this monumental crime has remained a complete mystery for over 3 decades. March 18, 1990. St. Patrick's Day in Boston. The streets are emptying. Drunk college kids stumbling home. Bar lights flickering off. Just another night. Except it wasn't. Because at that exact moment, 2 men were putting on fake mustaches. Checking their police uniforms one last time. Running through the plan. A plan that would take less than 81 minutes. A plan that would steal $500 million in art. A plan that would baffle the FBI for over 3 decades. And here's what keeps investigators up at night. These weren't master criminals. They made mistakes. Stupid mistakes. They left behind DNA. Fingerprints. Witnesses. So why haven't we caught them? The answer might be simpler and more disturbing than you think. Because the evidence suggests something most people don't want to believe. Someone on the inside helped them. Someone who knew exactly when to strike. Someone who understood the museum's security weaknesses. Someone who might still be walking free today. I'm going to take you inside the most audacious art heist ever attempted. We're going to examine every detail, every suspect, every theory. And by the end, you'll understand why this case haunts everyone who touches it. Let's go back to where it all began. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum sits in Boston's Fenway neighborhood. A Venetian palace transplanted to New England. Built by a woman who refused to follow rules. Isabella Stewart Gardner was an American original. Born wealthy in 1840. Married even wealthier. Then her only son died at age 2. Most people would have broken. Isabella decided to build something eternal instead. She traveled the world collecting art. She bought aggressively, competitively, some said obsessively. By 1903, she'd built her palace museum. And here's the fascinating part. Her will contained an ironclad provision. Nothing could ever be moved. Nothing could ever be replaced. If a single painting left its spot, the entire collection would be sold off and the building demolished. She wanted her vision preserved exactly as she left it. Forever. This detail becomes crucial later. Remember it. Now let's talk about the museum's security in 1990. Or more accurately, let's talk about what security they didn't have. No cameras inside the galleries. None. The only cameras covered the entrances and exits. The alarm system was decades old. Motion detectors that could be easily bypassed if you knew their locations. Which someone clearly did. The entire museum was protected by 2 security guards. Just 2. Working the overnight shift. One was a day watchman filling in. The other was a 23-year-old musician working night security to pay rent. His name was Rick Abath. And his actions that night would haunt him forever. March 17th rolls into March 18th. The city is drunk on green beer and Irish pride. Perfect conditions for a crime. Cops are stretched thin dealing with drunk and disorderly calls. Response times are slower than usual. The streets are chaos. At the museum, Rick Abath is making his rounds. The other guard, Randy Heston, is at the security desk. It's a quiet night. Boring even. At 12:15 a.m., something strange happens. Rick Abath opens a side door. The alarm registers the opening. He immediately closes it again. This moment has puzzled investigators for decades. Why did he open that door? Was he checking something? Or was he signaling someone outside? Pin in that. We'll come back to it. The buzzer sounds. Randy Heston looks at the monitor showing the side entrance. 2 Boston police officers stand outside. Full uniforms. Badges visible. They look official. Heston buzzes Rick Abath on the radio. There's police at the door. They say they're responding to a disturbance call. Now here's where it gets interesting. Museum protocol was crystal clear. Under no circumstances were guards allowed to open the doors after closing. For anyone. Even police. The protocol existed for exactly this reason. To prevent unauthorized entry. But Rick Abath walks to the door. And he opens it. The two officers step inside. One is tall and thin. The other is shorter, stockier. Both have mustaches. Both look professional. "We got a call about a disturbance," one says. "Are you guys the only ones here?" Rick nods. "Just us two. We need you to come with us to the security desk," the officer says. "We need to check something out." And Rick complies. He walks them right to the heart of the museum's security. The guard desk where Randy Heston sits. They reach the security desk. Randy looks up. Two cops. His partner. Everything seems normal. Then one of the officers speaks. "Gentlemen, this is a robbery. Don't give us any problems and you won't get hurt." Randy starts to hit the panic button. The officer grabs his wrist. "I said don't make any problems." Within seconds, both guards are ordered to the floor. Their hands are zip-tied behind their backs. Then their feet. Then their hands and feet are bound together. They're completely immobilized. But the thieves aren't done. They wrap duct tape around the guards' heads, covering their eyes, covering their mouths, layer after layer until they can barely breathe. Then they drag them to separate basement rooms. Rick gets handcuffed to a pipe. Randy gets locked in a storage area. The last thing Rick hears before his door closes is one of the thieves speaking. "Don't worry. We'll be back for you in a bit. Just stay quiet." Then silence. Except for footsteps moving away. Footsteps heading toward some of the most valuable art in the world. 1:48 a.m. The motion detectors start triggering. The security system logs every movement. Second floor. Dutch room. Short gallery. Blue room. The thieves are moving fast. But not panicked. They know exactly where they're going. This is where things get weird. Really weird. The Gardner Museum houses approximately 2,500 works of art. Paintings worth tens of millions each. Sculptures. Tapestries. Rare furniture. The thieves ignore almost all of it. They go straight to the Dutch room. On the wall hangs one of only 34 known Vermeer paintings in existence. The Concert. Painted around 1664. Showing three figures making music in a sunlit room. It's valued at over $200 million. By itself, it's the most valuable stolen painting in the world. One of the thieves climbs up. He doesn't carefully remove it. He cuts it. Right out of the frame. The knife slices through canvas that's over 300 years old. He rolls it up roughly. Shoves it in his bag. Art historians physically cringe at this detail. The painting could be damaged beyond repair. Vermeer's delicate glazing technique requires careful handling. Rolling it like a poster could crack the paint. Create permanent damage. Destroy it entirely. But these thieves don't care. Or don't know. Or both. Next, they grab Rembrandt's Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee. Rembrandt's only known seascape. Painted in 1633. Shows Jesus and his disciples in a boat during a violent storm. It's massive. 4 feet by 5 feet. Worth at least $100 million. Again, they cut it from the frame. Roughly. Carelessly. Like they're removing a poster from a dorm room. They also take A Lady and Gentleman in Black. Another Rembrandt. This one they cut twice. Once to remove it from the frame. Once more to cut it down to a smaller size. So it fits in their bag easier. Think about that. They're literally cutting up a Rembrandt. One of the greatest painters who ever lived. And they're hacking his work to pieces for convenience. They grab Rembrandt's self-portrait etching. Well, easy to carry. Worth maybe $5 million. A rounding error compared to the paintings. Now the heist gets truly strange. They take a Govert Flinck painting. Landscape with an obelisk. It's nice. But it's not world famous. Worth maybe $200,000. Why grab this when there are Titians on the walls? They steal a Chinese bronze beaker from the Shang dynasty. 3,000 years old. Priceless from a historical standpoint, but not exactly easy to fence. Then they go to the short gallery. 5 Degas sketches hang on the wall. Charcoal on paper. Studies of horses and riders. Beautiful, but worth maybe $1 million total. The thieves take them. All 5. But they leave a 6th Degas right next to them. But why take 5 and leave 1? Were they interrupted? Did they run out of room? Or was there something specific about those 5? The absolute weirdest theft happens in the Blue Room. Sitting atop a Napoleonic flag is a bronze eagle finial. A decorative eagle that once topped a flagpole. It's interesting. Historically significant. But it's not rare. Napoleon's army made thousands of these. The thieves unscrew it from the flagpole. Take it. Leave behind paintings worth millions. To this day, nobody understands why. Some think it was a signature, a calling card. Others think it was grabbed by mistake in the dark. Or maybe it was a specific request from whoever commissioned the heist. We don't know. And that's terrifying. Perhaps the strangest part involves a small Monet painting. Chez Tortoni. Shows a man at a cafe. Painted around 1875. Worth maybe $2 million. It was hanging in the first floor gallery. Nowhere near the other thefts. The thieves had to go out of their way to get it. Down different stairs. Into a different wing. Past dozens of more valuable works. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. The frame they took it from was the only one in the entire museum that was never returned. Every other frame was left behind. Cut canvases inside. But this one? Gone. Was there something about the frame? Something hidden inside it? A map? A message? Another item? Or is this all just random chaos from 2 amateur thieves? The motion detectors stop triggering. The thieves have finished. 81 minutes after they entered. They've stolen 13 works of art. Total value, over $500 million. The biggest art heist in world history. But they left behind DNA evidence. Hair follicles. Fingerprints on the duct tape. Witnesses who saw them outside. And they left 2 guards alive to tell the tale. At 8:15 a.m., the day shift arrives. They find Rick Abath and Randy Heston still bound in the basement. Cold, dehydrated, traumatized, but alive. Rick Abath's first words, they came in as cops. The investigation begins. And it will consume thousands of investigators over the next 3 decades. Cost millions of dollars. Follow leads around the world. And still come up empty. But before we get to the investigation, we need to talk about Rick Abath. Because his story has some serious problems. Let's examine Rick Abath carefully. Because this guy's actions don't make sense. First, that mysterious door opening at 12:15 a.m. More than an hour before the thieves arrived. Rick opens a side door. The alarm triggers. He immediately closes it. When questioned, Rick gave vague answers. I was checking something. Maybe I thought I heard something. I don't really remember why. The FBI tested this. They stood where Rick stood. There's no reason to open that door. Nothing to check. Nothing to see. It's just a side entrance that should remain locked. Was he signaling someone? Telling them the coast was clear? Letting them know which door to use later? Rick has always denied this. But it's suspicious as hell. Then there's the bigger issue. Rick violated direct museum protocol by opening the door. His training was explicit. Never open the doors after hours. For anyone. Call the police if someone claims to be police. Have them verify through dispatch. But never open the door. Rick knew this. He'd been trained on it. Multiple times. So why did he open it? His explanation, they were police. They said they got a call. It seemed legitimate. But think about this. If you're a security guard at a museum, and 2 cops show up at 1:24 a.m., don't you ask some basic questions? What's the call about? Who called it in? Can I see your badge numbers? Rick asked nothing. He just opened the door. Let them in. Walked them directly to the security desk. The FBI administered multiple polygraph tests to Rick. He failed. Repeatedly. Now, polygraphs aren't perfect. They're not admissible in court. People can fail them for various reasons. anxiety, fear. But Rick's results showed deception specifically around his actions that night. The door opening. His decision to let the officers inside. His claim that he didn't recognize them. Rick's defense, I was terrified. Of course I seemed deceptive. I thought they were going to kill me. Fair point. Maybe. Here's another wrinkle. Rick Abath was broke in 1990. Working a minimum wage security job. Living paycheck to paycheck. Trying to make it as a musician. After the heist, his financial situation improved. Not dramatically, but noticeably. The FBI investigated this. They couldn't find evidence of a large payout. No sudden deposits. No major purchases. No offshore accounts. But they also couldn't fully account for his improved situation. Rick's explanation, I worked more. I played more gigs. I got my life together. Possible. But convenient. In the days after the heist, Rick's behavior was odd. He gave conflicting statements to police. First, he said the thieves had mustaches. Then he wasn't sure. Then he said they definitely did. He described them as professional. Then as amateurish. Then as professional again. His timeline kept shifting. Details kept changing. When asked about the basement, Rick said the thieves handcuffed him to a pipe. Then he said they didn't. Then he said he couldn't remember. These inconsistencies are common in trauma victims. Memory gets fuzzy. Details get mixed up. The brain protects itself. But they also pattern match to someone who's lying. Someone who's trying to keep a story straight but can't remember what he said. To be fair to Rick, he's maintained his innocence for 35 years. He's given dozens of interviews. Written articles. Appeared in documentaries. His story has remained largely consistent over time. He was a naive kid. He made a mistake opening the door. He's lived with that guilt ever since. He points out that he was brutally bound. Handcuffed. Duct-taped. Left in a basement for hours. Why would conspirators do that to their inside man? Good question. Unless it was all theater. Make it look real. Establish yourself as a victim, not a suspect. The FBI has never publicly cleared Rick. But they've also never charged him. They've interviewed him over 20 times. Searched his homes. Examined his finances. Monitored his movements. Nothing. No hard evidence linking him to the actual theft. Just suspicion. Questions. What about the other guard? Randy Heston has been largely ignored in this story. He was at the desk when the officers entered. He tried to hit the panic button. He was bound and locked in a basement room. Randy passed all his polygraphs. His story never changed. His finances checked out. The FBI found nothing suspicious. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. A victim. Nothing more. So why focus so much on Rick? Here's what makes the inside job theory so compelling. And so frustrating. The thieves knew too much. They knew the museum's security schedule. They knew there'd only be 2 guards. They knew which cameras covered which areas. They knew the motion detector locations. They knew exactly which artworks to take. That's not random luck. That's specific knowledge. Someone told them. Someone helped them. Maybe Rick. Maybe someone else entirely. But someone on the inside was involved. The evidence is overwhelming. And that person has never been caught. Never been identified. Never come forward. They're out there somewhere. Possibly watching this video right now. Living with this secret. Unless they're dead. Which is entirely possible. And would mean we'll never know the truth. Let's talk about what was actually stolen. Because these aren't just expensive paintings. They're irreplaceable pieces of human history. Start with the concert. Johannes Vermeer painted it around 1664. It shows 3 people making music. A woman playing a harpsichord. A woman singing. A man with his back to us. Classic Vermeer. Intimate. Quiet. Capturing a fleeting moment of domestic life. That incredible light he's famous for. The way it falls across the room. Illuminates the figures. Creates depth and warmth. Only 34 Vermeer paintings survive. He worked slowly. Methodically. Probably completed fewer than 50 paintings in his lifetime. So every single Vermeer matters. Losing one is like burning a chapter of art history. The painting was valued at $200 million in 1990. Today? Try $500 million. Maybe more. If it still exists. If it hasn't been destroyed by improper storage. By rough handling. By time and neglect. Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee. Rembrandt's only seascape. Painted in 1633 when he was just 27 years old. It's dramatic. Violent. Shows Jesus and his disciples in a boat during a massive storm. Waves crashing. The boat tilting dangerously. Disciples terrified. Jesus calm. The moment right before he calms the storm. Art historians consider it one of Rembrandt's masterpieces. The composition. The movement. The emotion. The way he captures terror and faith in a single image. It's also deeply personal. One of the disciples is a self-portrait. Rembrandt painted himself into the scene, looking directly out at the viewer, breaking the fourth wall, making us part of the storm. That painting is gone, cut from its frame, rolled up, hidden somewhere, or destroyed. We may never see it again. A Lady and Gentleman in Black, painted around 1633, shows a wealthy couple in formal dress. The woman in black with a white collar. The man beside her. Serious. Dignified. Timeless. Rembrandt was the master of portraiture. He didn't just paint what people looked like. He painted who they were. Their psychology. Their inner life. This painting got the worst treatment. The thieves cut it from the frame. Then cut it again. Sliced a piece off to make it smaller. To fit in their bag. Imagine that. Hacking up a Rembrandt. Because it's slightly too big. 5 charcoal sketches by Edgar Degas. Studies of horses. Jockeys. Movement. Degas was obsessed with horses and racing. These sketches are preparatory works. Studies for larger paintings. They show his process. His method. The way he worked out composition and form. They're not his most valuable works. But they're irreplaceable. You can't just commission new Degas sketches. He died in 1917. What exists is all that will ever exist. Landscape with an Obelisk by Govert Flinck. A Dutch Golden Age landscape. Competent, but not world famous. For years, this painting was attributed to Rembrandt. The museum thought they owned a Rembrandt landscape. Then experts reattributed it to Flinck, one of Rembrandt's students. Still valuable, but not the same. Here's the weird thing. If the thieves did their research, they'd know this. They'd know it wasn't really a Rembrandt. So why take it? Unless they didn't know. Unless they thought they were stealing a Rembrandt. Which suggests amateurism, poor planning, outdated information. Or maybe they just grabbed it because it was there. Chez Tortoni, by Edouard Manet. Small painting. Shows a man at a Paris cafe. Top hat. Bus. Contemplative. Manet's work bridged realism and impressionism. He influenced everyone who came after. This painting captures that transitional moment in art history. The cafe culture of Paris. The modern world emerging. It's beautiful, but not Manet's most significant work. Worth maybe $2 million. So why go out of the way to grab it? A Shang Dynasty bronze beaker. Called gu. Used for ritual wine ceremonies. 3,000 years old. It's an amazing artifact. But here's the thing. There are thousands of Shang Dynasty bronzes. In museums worldwide. Private collections. This one isn't unique. Why steal this? What made it special? And finally, the Napoleon finial. A bronze eagle. Mass-produced for Napoleon's army. Worth maybe $5,000. Maybe. The most baffling theft of all. Here's where Isabella Stewart Gardner's will becomes crucial. Remember that ironclad provision? Nothing can be moved. Nothing can be replaced. So the museum did something powerful. They left the frames on the walls. Empty. Waiting. You can visit the Gardner Museum today. Walk into the Dutch room. See the empty frame where the concert tongue. Walk into the gallery. See the empty space where the Rembrandt storm tossed. It's haunting. These empty frames are more powerful than any no photography sign. Their absences. Silent screams. They say, Something was stolen from the world. And they wait. For 35 years now. They wait for the art to come home. March 18, 1990, 8:15 a.m. The day staff finds the guards. They call 911. Within minutes, Boston police flood the scene. Then the FBI. Massachusetts State Police. The scene is total chaos. But the damage is done. Dozens of officers trample through the galleries. Touching frames. Moving things. Contaminating evidence. By the time crime scene techs arrive, the forensic integrity is compromised. They do their best. Collect hair samples. Fingerprints. Fibers. But it's messy. Too many people. Too much contamination. The FBI takes over. This is now a federal case. Art theft across state lines. Potential international trafficking. They set up a command center. Start interviewing everyone. Museum staff. Guards. Donors. Anyone with access. The first major theory focuses on the Boston Irish mob. This is 1990. Whitey Bulger is still running the city. The Irish mob controls significant territory. They're into everything. Drugs. Guns. Protection rackets. Art theft? Why not? The FBI starts squeezing informants. Following mob associates. Surveillance. Wiretaps. They hear whispers. Rumors. Someone claiming the mob did it. Someone else saying they know where the art is. But nothing solid. Nothing prosecutable. A name emerges, Bobby Donati. A mid-level mob associate. Known for burglaries. Good with locks. Smart. Witnesses place Donati near the museum in the days before the heist. He's asking questions about security. About the guard schedules. The FBI wants to talk to him. But there's a problem. Bobby Donati is murdered in September 1991. Beaten to death. Stuffed in the trunk of his car. Classic mob hit. Did he do the Gardner job? Did the mob kill him to shut him up? Or was his murder completely unrelated? The FBI digs into Donati's life. His associates. His movements. They find some connections. But nothing definitive. And with Donati dead, they can't question him. Dead and number one. Enter Miles Connor Jr., one of the most successful art thieves in American history. A true character. Rock musician. Martial artist. Brilliant burglar. Connor stole millions in art over his career. Always had a plan. Always got away clean. Until he didn't. By 1990, Connor is in prison. Federal drug charges. He's sitting in a cell when the Gardner heist happens. But the FBI thinks he might be involved anyway. Maybe he planned it. Maybe he has partners on the outside. Maybe he knows something. Connor loves the attention. He gives interviews. Hints that he knows things. Plays games with investigators. I might know where the art is. I might have information. But I need something in return. The FBI negotiates. They offer reduced sentences. Immunity. Money. Connor strings them along for years. Decades. Always promising. Never delivering. Eventually, investigators conclude Connor knows nothing. He's just enjoying the spotlight. Playing the gentleman thief one more time. The investigation drags through the 1990s. Hundreds of leads. Tips from around the world. Someone saw the paintings in Ireland. Someone saw them in Japan. Someone's cousin's friend's brother knows a guy. The FBI follows every single lead. No matter how ridiculous. Because you never know. They track down Irish Republican Army connections. The IRA was known to use stolen art for financing. Maybe they commissioned the heist. Maybe they're holding the paintings. Nothing. They investigate international art traffickers. Major collectors. Underground dealers. Criminal networks in Europe. Asia. South America. Nothing. The leads dry up. The media moves on. The case goes cold. 2006. The FBI announces a major development. They know who committed the heist. They have the names. But they're not releasing them. And they haven't recovered the art. This announcement is met with skepticism. If you know who did it, arrest them. If you know where the art is, get a warrant. The FBI's position, the people responsible are likely dead. We need the art back. We need people with information to come forward. It's a strategy. Put pressure on people. Make them think you know more than you do. Hope someone panics. Hope someone makes a mistake. But nothing happens. No one comes forward. No one panics. A new name, Robert Gentile. Low-level mobster. Connected to organized crime in Connecticut. Friends with Bobby Donati. An FBI wiretap catches Gentile talking about the Gardner heist. Vague references. Implications. I know where the art is. I can get it back. The FBI raids Gentile's house in 2012. They find a list. Handwritten. Listing the stolen Gardner paintings. With estimated values. Gentile claims he doesn't know where it came from. Says it's not his handwriting. Says he knows nothing. The FBI doesn't believe him. They indict him on weapons charges. Use it as leverage. Tell him to cooperate. Tell them about the art. Gentile refuses. Says he has nothing to tell. He goes to prison. Gets out. Still claims to know nothing. The FBI is convinced he's lying. They think he knows where at least some of the art is. Maybe he even has it. Robert Gentile dies in 2021. In the past decade, attention has shifted. Philadelphia organized crime. Connections between Boston and Philly mobsters. The theory, the heist was commissioned by Philadelphia mob figures. They wanted the art as collateral. For drug deals. For loans. As negotiating chips. Some of the art may have moved through Philadelphia in the early 1990s. There are witness reports. Second-hand accounts. Vague rumors. The FBI has investigated. Interviewed Philadelphia mob associates. Former members who flipped. Cooperating witnesses. Some have hinted at knowledge. But nothing concrete. No one can say definitively where the art is. Or if it even still exists. The museum is desperate. They offer a $10 million reward. For information leading to the recovery of the art. In good condition. It's one of the largest rewards ever offered. For anything. You'd think that would bring people out. Desperate people. Greedy people. People with actual knowledge. But the art hasn't come back. Maybe the people who know are dead. Maybe they're in prison and can't collect anyway. Maybe they're more afraid of mob retaliation than attracted to money. Maybe the art is destroyed and there's nothing to recover. Or maybe, just maybe, the art is sitting somewhere. In a warehouse. A basement. A storage unit. Waiting to be discovered. Waiting for someone to finally talk. Today, in 2025, the case remains open. The FBI still has agents assigned to it. The museum still offers the reward. The empty frames still hang on the walls. Every few years, there's a new lead. A new theory. A new suspect. And every time, it goes nowhere. The Gardner heist has become a legend. A ghost story. A mystery that may never be solved. But people keep trying. Keep investigating. Keep hoping. Because somewhere out there, those paintings exist. They have to. Someone has them. Someone knows something. The question is, will they ever talk? Let's address the biggest question. The only question that really matters. Where is the art right now? Theory 1. It's destroyed. The thieves didn't know what they had. They stored it improperly. Rolled canvases degraded. Moisture. Temperature fluctuations. After 35 years, the paintings might be beyond repair. Or completely gone. This is the nightmare scenario. It means humanity lost these works forever. They'll never hang in a museum again. Never be studied.